Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. This time, we're taking a closer look at what it takes to be a call taker.
Oh, yeah.
And to help us navigate this, we've got Indeed.com's interview guide.
Hmm.
So whether you're thinking about a career change, prepping for that big interview, or just curious about this kind of vital communication role,
Yeah.
we're going to break it all down.
Awesome.
It's interesting because when you think about call takers, a lot of people just think, oh, they answer phones.
Right.
But there's so much more to it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a really unique set of skills, I think,
Yeah,
that you need to be successful.
for sure.
And resilience is a big one.
Civilians, yeah.
You're often that first point of contact for people.
Right.
And they could be experiencing a whole range of emotions.
Absolutely.
So you really need to be able to handle that.
And Indeed's guide kind of dives right into that high-stress reality.
Yes.
Highlighting how call takers are often the front line for
Wait,
people
Sar.
in emergencies,
Hmm.
or just having a tough time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they even share this anecdote about a call taker dealing with a distressed caller
Okay.
who's really upset over a service failure.
Oh, yeah.
And what struck me was that even when the caller wasn't very polite,
Hmm.
the call taker remained just totally professional
Right.
and empathetic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to take a lot of strength.
It does. I mean,
Yeah.
it speaks to a crucial point.
Yeah.
That it's not just about having a friendly voice, right? It's
Mhm.
about being able to navigate
Yeah.
these sometimes really challenging interactions
Right.
with emotional intelligence.
For sure. Yeah.
The Indeed guide also emphasizes the importance of, and this might seem obvious, but
Yeah.
strong communication skills.
I mean, I think we just kind of assume, right?
Yeah, you would think, right? But what does that actually mean for
Yeah.
a call taker?
Exactly. I mean, it's got to be more than just like
It is.
speaking clearly.
Yeah.
I imagine active listening plays a huge role.
Absolutely. I mean, the source really stresses the need to understand what the caller's needs are
Okay.
and then respond accordingly, not to just like go through some script.
Right. Right.
They give an example
Mm.
of a call taker very patiently walking a customer through some online service,
Oh, yeah.
step by step. And think about how tricky that can be
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
to explain something technical to someone who's already frustrated.
Especially when they're frustrated. I've been there
Yeah,
so many times with tech support,
I know.
feeling completely lost.
Yeah.
And it really makes all the difference when you have that call taker who's patient
Yes,
and can communicate clearly.
absolutely.
And it's not just about avoiding miscommunication.
Right.
It's also about making sure everything's accurate.
Exactly. The guide actually highlights how missing even small details
Wow.
can have really significant consequences, especially in time-sensitive or critical situations.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Imagine emergency services. I mean,
Yeah.
like a call taker's ability to quickly and efficiently gather accurate information can really make all the difference.
Literally life or death.
Yes. And this ties into another key skill, attention to detail.
Absolutely. Indeed actually shares a story about a call taker whose sharp eye caught an error in a customer's account,
Oh, wow.
saved them money,
Need for them.
and earned them praise.
Mhm.
So it just goes to show that
Yeah.
attention to detail isn't just about following procedures.
No.
It's about actively engaging with the information.
Yeah, it's about spotting inconsistencies, potential issues. That can be really crucial for a call taker.
Absolutely. So we've talked about remaining calm under pressure.
Mm,
We've talked about clear communication,
yes.
attention to detail. But what else?
Right.
What else makes a call taker stand out
What are those qualities that employers really look for?
beyond those basics?
Yeah. What's that extra something?
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about. What does the Indeed guide say about that?
So the guide gets into some really interesting areas here.
Okay.
One is the importance of time management and prioritization,
Ooh, that's a good one.
especially during those really busy periods when you've got a high volume of calls
Yeah.
coming in. Being able to manage all those calls and requests and tasks efficiently is really essential.
It sounds like mental juggling.
It is, keeping all those plates spinning at once.
Wow.
And then another key skill
Okay.
is decision making.
Oh, okay.
Because call takers often encounter situations where they need to think on their feet
Oh, for sure.
and make judgment calls and maybe even deviate from standard procedures.
Wow, so it's not just about sticking to the script.
It's not, no. You need to know when to adapt.
Yeah, that takes confidence.
It does. It
Yeah.
takes confidence, knowledge, and the ability to assess situations quickly.
Okay, what else?
Well, teamwork
Teamwork.
is a big one.
Okay.
The source actually gives an example of how call takers often collaborate with their colleagues. to handle those really complex cases or to share information.
So being a team player is crucial in this kind of environment.
Yes, absolutely.
This is really eye-opening. I mean, the skills needed to be a successful call taker are so much more diverse
They are.
and demanding than I initially thought.
I agree, and it's a role that's often overlooked. It's truly vital, though, in so many industries and organizations.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this actually leads us to another point, advancement opportunities.
Now, that's something I'm sure a lot of people are curious about. Does a career as a call taker lead anywhere?
Yeah.
Or is it just a stepping stone? What does the source say about that?
So it turns out that a call taker role can be a really fantastic springboard for a lot of different opportunities.
Okay.
The guide mentions that with experience and a good attitude, call takers can advance into supervisory or management roles within call centers or customer service departments.
So you master the front lines, and then you use that experience to lead others.
Exactly.
Are there other paths, though?
There are. Some call takers transition into other communication-focused roles, like in fields like sales, marketing, or even public relations.
The possibilities are wider than I imagined. So it sounds like those skills you hone as a call taker are transferable
They are.
to a surprisingly wide range of industries.
That's what makes this career path so fascinating.
Yeah.
It's not just answering phones. It's about developing this skill set that can open doors to a variety of fulfilling and impactful roles.
You've definitely given us a lot to think about so far.
Yeah.
We've covered the high-stress reality, the importance of communication and attention to detail, those hidden talents that make a difference, and even the potential for career growth. It seems like we've given our listeners a really solid understanding of what it takes to succeed as a call taker.
I think so too. But before we move on, there's one more piece of the puzzle that I think is important to highlight.
Ooh, I'm intrigued. What is it?
It's about understanding the impact and the reach of this role.
Yeah.
Call takers are often the unsung heroes
I liked that.
of so many industries,
Yeah.
quietly ensuring that businesses run smoothly, emergencies are handled effectively,
Right.
and customers feel heard and supported.
You're absolutely right. I mean, they are that voice of calm
Yes.
in a storm. The problem solvers, the information providers.
Exactly. So as you listen to this, I want you to think about all the different industries and organizations that rely on skilled call takers every single day.
You've got healthcare, you've got emergency services. I mean, you've got customer service for like countless companies.
Yes.
Technical support, helplines, and so much more. I mean, it's a career path
It is.
that touches so many aspects of our lives.
It really does.
And we don't even think about it.
Exactly. And that's something to keep in mind. If you're considering this career path, it's more than just a job. It's an opportunity to make a real difference in the lives of others.
This has been so insightful. It's amazing how much we've learned
It is.
about a role that, like you said, is often taken for granted.
I agree. I hope our listener is gaining a new appreciation for the skills, the dedication, and the impact of the call taker.
Absolutely.
It's a role that deserves our respect and recognition.
For sure.
I think it really does. I mean, it's not just the impact on individual callers, it's the ripple effect it has.
Right.
You know, when you think about it, good communication can really affect an organization as a whole.
That's a great point. You think about a positive call experience. It can turn a frustrated customer
Exactly.
into a loyal one.
Yes.
Or help someone navigate a really complex situation
Right.
with a little less stress.
Absolutely.
It's about building relationships and trust. It's not just answering questions.
It's not. And that actually brings up something we haven't really touched on yet. What's it actually like day to day to be a call taker?
Now we're getting down to brass tacks.
Yeah.
So what does the Indeed guide tell us about the typical work environment?
So the guide describes it as often fast-paced and demanding, especially in settings like call centers where there's this constant flow of incoming calls.
It's nonstop.
It is. It is. One thing that stood out to me was that call takers need to be comfortable sitting for long periods because they're on the phone for much of their shift.
That makes sense.
So if you're someone who enjoys being on the move, this might not be the ideal fit.
Right. It's not physically active,
No.
but I imagine it can be mentally exhausting.
You hit the nail on the head. It can be. And it's not just handling the calls themselves.
Right.
There's also a lot of administrative tasks.
Oh, okay.
Like documenting calls, updating records, and potentially even using various computer software programs like CRM systems.
Right.
Or call logging software.
So you need that mix of communication skills, but you also need to be a little tech savvy.
Yes.
And have those organizational skills.
Absolutely. And of course, there's that emotional resilience we talked about earlier. Dealing with those difficult callers, stressful situations, or even emergencies.
Yeah.
That can really take a toll.
Yeah, it can.
The guide really emphasizes the importance of stress management and maintaining a positive outlook.
I mean, it sounds crucial in this kind of role.
It really is. And they actually mention some strategies.
Okay.
Like taking short breaks to clear your head and approaching challenges as learning opportunities.
So self-care seems like a big deal.
It can't be overstated, and this is something potential call takers should consider.
Yeah.
This job really isn't for everyone. You need that certain set of skills and personality traits to thrive in this kind of environment.
So if someone's listening and thinking, hey, this sounds like me, what advice would you give them based on what we've learned from Indeed?
That's a great question. First, I would say focus on honing those essential skills. Communication, active listening, attention to detail, problem solving, and staying calm under pressure.
And don't forget those hidden talents.
Yeah.
Time management, decision-making, and teamwork.
That's right. Second, I'd recommend exploring different types of call taker roles to find one that really matches your interests and your strengths.
Okay.
For example, the healthcare industry might appeal to someone with a really caring and empathetic nature, while someone who loves tech might thrive in a tech support role.
Right.
Speaking of healthcare, the guide actually touches upon the unique demands of being a call taker in that specific setting.
That's interesting. I imagine healthcare calls can be especially sensitive.
They can be.
What does the source say about that?
So, the guide mentions that call takers in healthcare settings need to be comfortable handling confidential patient information and potentially dealing with those really emotionally charged situations. They might be answering questions about appointments or medications or even triaging calls to figure out how urgent a medical issue is.
Oh, wow.
So, it really requires a combination of empathy, knowledge of medical terminology, and the ability to stay calm under pressure.
It sounds challenging but rewarding.
It is.
I could see how somebody with a passion for healthcare would find it really fulfilling.
Absolutely. And my final piece of advice would be to go into it with a positive attitude and a willingness to learn.
Yeah.
Because the world of call taking is always evolving with new technologies and new challenges. So continuous learning.
So it keeps you on your toes.
It does.
But it also offers a lot of opportunities for professional development.
Exactly.
That's great. We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From that general overview of what a call taker does to those specific skills and qualities that you need to be successful.
Yes.
But before we move on, I'm curious. What are some of the potential downsides or challenges that people should be aware of?
That's a really great question. Because it's important to be realistic.
Yeah, absolutely.
About the pros and cons of any job.
We don't want to sugarcoat anything.
No, we don't. So what does the guide say about the less glamorous side of being a call taker? One potential challenge is the repetitive nature of the work. Because call takers often have to follow scripts and procedures, which can get a bit monotonous.
Yeah, I can see that.
Particularly for those who really enjoy variety and independence.
So if you're someone who thrives on constant change and new challenges, that might be a drawback.
It's definitely something to keep in mind. Another potential challenge is the emotional toll the job can take. We talked about the importance of resilience and self-care, but it's worth reiterating that dealing with those difficult callers or stressful situations day after day can really be draining.
Yeah, that can.
Both mentally and emotionally. And this can actually lead to what's called compassion fatigue or emotional labor.
Oh, can you explain those terms a little bit?
Sure. Think about it this way. Imagine you're constantly absorbing
Okay.
other people's stress,
Right.
their frustration, even their anger.
Yeah.
It's like carrying this heavy emotional weight.
Wow.
And over time, it can leave you feeling depleted and burned out.
Yeah, that's a really powerful analogy.
Yeah,
It makes it much easier to understand the emotional burden
it does.
that call takers can face.
Exactly. So it's crucial to have those healthy coping mechanisms
Right.
and a strong support system
Yeah.
to help you navigate those challenges.
And let's not forget the potential for burnout, particularly in these high-pressure environments.
Yes.
Where you're constantly being evaluated based on performance metrics
Yes.
and service level agreements.
And those terms might not be familiar to everyone listening.
Right.
So let's clarify those. Performance metrics are basically just ways of measuring
Okay.
how well a call taker is doing.
Okay.
Things like how quickly they answer calls,
Right.
how many calls they handle per hour,
Yeah.
customer satisfaction scores.
Okay.
Service level agreements are specific targets
Okay.
that call centers set
Okay.
for things like average wait times
Right.
and call resolution rates.
So it's not just about being friendly and helpful.
Right.
It's also about meeting those predetermined targets,
Exactly.
which can add a whole other layer of pressure to the job.
It can. And that's why prioritizing self-care,
Yeah.
setting boundaries, and advocating for your well-being is so important in this field.
So while the call taker career path has a lot of rewards and opportunities,
Yeah.
it's really vital to go into it with that
Yes.
realistic understanding of the potential downsides.
I completely agree. It's about finding the right fit
Mm-hmm.
for your personality, your skills, and your long-term goals.
This deep dive has been incredibly insightful. We've covered so much.
We have.
The core skills, the work environment, career paths, and even those potential downsides.
Yes.
Our listeners have a much clearer picture now of what it takes to excel as a call taker.
I agree. And I hope this information really helps them
Yeah.
make those informed decisions about their career, whether they're thinking about becoming a call taker or just want to understand this vital role a little bit better.
Speaking of informed decisions,
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on salary expectations.
Okay.
Before we get to our final thoughts,
Sure.
this is something that's always a concern, I think, for people who are considering a new career.
Yeah.
Does Indeed give us any insight into that?
That's a great question. While the guide doesn't give specific salary figures,
Okay.
it does emphasize that a call taker's earning potential can vary widely
Okay.
based on experience, location, industry, and even the company itself.
So it's a good idea to do your research
Yes.
on industry averages, specific company salaries, to get a better idea of what you can expect to earn.
Exactly. Websites like Glassdoor and Indeed are really valuable resources for this type of research.
That's a great tip. It's always wise to be informed about your worth.
Absolutely. And remember, salary is just one factor
You're right.
to consider when choosing a career path.
Yeah, for sure.
Job satisfaction, work-life balance, growth opportunities, alignment with your values and passions are all equally important.
Well said. It's about finding a role that fulfills you,
Yes.
professionally and personally.
You nailed it. And sometimes that fulfillment comes from knowing that you're making a difference in the lives of others, even in small but meaningful ways.
That's a beautiful thought.
Yeah.
To keep in mind as we transition to our final takeaway from this deep dive, you mentioned fulfillment and making a difference. That actually leads us perfectly to our final takeaway here.
Okay.
What would you say is that big picture perspective on the role of the call taker?
It's really fascinating to think about.
Yeah.
In a world that's becoming more and more digital, more and more automated, that human connection, that voice on the other end of the line is even more valuable, I think.
I see what you mean. It's like we're constantly bombarded with emails, texts, chatbots, but sometimes you just need to hear that human voice.
You do.
To know that somebody's actually listening.
Exactly.
And call takers provide that bridge between the digital and the human.
Yes.
They offer that vital connection that so many of us crave, I think.
It's true. They're like the human face of these organizations.
Yeah.
The voice of empathy in a world that can often feel impersonal.
Yeah, and cold.
And cold, yes.
So as you go about your day, listener, I really encourage you to think about the call takers that you encounter. The person who helps you troubleshoot that tech issue.
Yes.
The customer service rep who goes above and beyond to solve a problem.
Right.
The emergency dispatcher who very calmly talks you through a stressful situation.
And let's not forget the healthcare
Yeah,
professionals answering those questions about appointments or medications, the volunteers staffing the helplines, all those people who are there to answer our calls and offer support.
These individuals are so often unseen. Their work often goes unnoticed.
It does.
But they are crucial to keeping our society running.
They connect us. They provide that human touch
Yeah.
that's so needed in our world.
What a thought-provoking way to wrap up this deep dive. It's given me a whole new appreciation for the call takers in my life and the impact that they have every day.
I'm glad to hear that. I hope our listener is walking away with a similar sense of appreciation and understanding.
Well, that brings another deep dive here on the deep dive to a close. We've gone from a basic job description to a much, much richer understanding of the skills, the challenges, and even the impact call takers have on society.
It has been quite a journey. I hope it sparks some curiosity and some new insights for our listener.
If you were considering a career as a call taker or just want to learn more, remember to check out that full interview guide on Indeed.com.
Yes.
It's chock full of helpful tips and information.
Good stuff.
And if you've ever had a positive experience with a call taker, we just take a moment to thank them.
Yeah, I like that.
They really are the unsung heroes of our connected world.
They are.
Until next time, keep diving deep and stay curious.